This is CBS.
Marquette County, Michigan. 1,800 square miles of woods and marshes, rivers, trails, and mud. In fact, off-roading doesn't get much better than this. So when you see people bouncing around out here in the Nissan Hardbody 4x4, you gotta figure they're having a really great time. Not necessarily. The Nissan Hardbody 4x4, official truck of the Marquette Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team.
If you gotta go when it's 20 below, you better have it. Champion Battery. If you gotta go because the stork's arriving, you better have it. Champion Battery. 700 cold cranking amps. Pound for pound the most powerful battery you can buy. Guaranteed to start your car. So if you gotta go, go to Auto Express at Montgomery Ward. Because we've got it. And we'll match anyone's advertised price on the Champion 700 battery. Auto Express at Montgomery Ward.
Make a break for the Pat Sajak Show, late night on 7, starting January 9th.
CBS Sports coverage of the 53rd Mobil Cotton Bowl Classic is sponsored by Mobil One Synthetic Motor Oil. Mobil One, isn't your car worth the extra protection? U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. Magnavox, smart products for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart. And by Coors Light, there's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
Welcome back to CBS Sports presentation of the 53rd Annual Cotton Bowl Classic. Updating the scores now with 4 minutes remaining at the Hall of Fame game. Syracuse leading LSU by the score of 23-10. And with 10 minutes left at the Citrus Bowl, Clemson now leading the Sooners 13-6 as Kelly Allen scored on a 3-yard touchdown run. Clemson leading by 7 in that game. Here it's 14-3. The Bruins on the brink of taking it in again as we go back to Vernon Peck.
All right, Jim. 25 years ago, a man named Roger Staubach played here, went on for a brilliant career with the Dallas Cowboys. And now a quarter century later, Troy Aikman, through 3 quarters, is 17 of 24 for 156 yards. He's thrown passes to 11 different receivers, and he just converted a 3rd and 18 with a 35-yard pass, 1st down and 10. This is the 12th play of this drive. Draw play. Wills for 1. And Ty Mason with the tackle. Just to go back to the point you made, Pat, earlier about diversifying and adjusting. They have controlled the ball with the short passing game.
They really have, and it's an adjustment they made coming into the game. You know, you have so much time to prepare for a team in a bowl situation. Arkansas did a nice job of taking their major game plan away, but Aikman has come back and been patient and thrown the ball to the backs.
And quite disciplined. 2nd down, 9. 14-3, Bruins lead. Sacked. Ty Mason, who was just burned on the 35-yard catch by Arbuckle.
That's 2 plays in a row where Mason has been there to make the play.
And now after Mason's heroics, a 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, as Aikman has them huddled again.
And Arkansas has to think turnover or sack here.
The Bruins have converted their last 11 3rd down plays. 3rd and 15 officially. Left side, Lawrence Berkeley. Fumble.
Arkansas had to have a sack or a turnover. That's just what happens as Berkeley makes the catch. He gets stuffed by 54 Owens. The ball comes loose, and I believe it was Shepard who made the recovery. But that is exactly the kind of play this defense has come up with all season long. They lead the nation in turnover ratio. That's the 38th turnover for the year.
But now the Arkansas problems, we can magnify them by pointing out, despite the turnovers, the Razorbacks have 45 yards of total offense in this game. Grovey pitches, and what a job defensively. Darrell Henley. Oh, it doesn't get any better.
Again, we said you don't measure Henley by interceptions. He's only had one on the year, although he's been an All-American. But it's plays like this, run support, leadership, being in the right place at the right time. And there's the play on Rouse.
This is an Arkansas team that ran for an average of 246 yards a game. They have 34 on the ground today. Grovey from the end zone. Rouse, the intended receiver.
And Brian Wilcox, all 6'7", 256 pounds of him, will all over Quinn Grovey. He's kind of a tall, lanky guy, but he's got some pretty good foot speed and can rush the passer.
Winston comes out, the tight end, number 86. Kenny Hatfield trying to find a key to this offensive dilemma.
Well, the dilemma has been they haven't been in 3rd and 2 much of the day, and that's how you win with the wishbone. They've been in 3rd and long.
And that's what they've got right now. 3rd and 12. The Razorbacks 2 of 8 third down conversions. Blitz coming. Grovey steps up and lets it go. Incomplete. Aaron Jackson, the intended receiver.
Now, he is getting a lot of pressure up front by Jim Waller and a couple of other guys in the front. Waller, 66 again. This time he moves to the right. The time before he made the play, he stunted to the left. But Waller's had a terrific game at nose tackle.
Alan Meacham on the punt. And Darrell Henley, who made the big tackle, waits for it at the 45 of Arkansas. Henley has had problems fielding punts today, though. And there's another line drive kick. And it goes right by him. That is the 5th consecutive time that Henley has been fooled or bobbled to punt. So Meacham gets Arkansas out of trouble. UCLA has the ball back.
A legend has been created. A better battery for the future. Better reserve power with up to 2 hours and 25 minutes. Better protection with a warranty backed by Napa that lasts over 6 years. The legend from Napa. A better battery.
Oh, yes. Contemptible. I'm speaking of offending in the personal grooming arena. When seeking maximum protection and a fresh scent, one should grab Right Guard Sports Stick from Gillette. Antiperspirant and deodorant. Anything less would be uncivilized.
It's the right beer for winter fun. Silver blades, funky shades, and a downhill run. It's the cool way of getting around. The silver bullet won't slow you down. So come on into Coors Light. It's the right beer now. To the good life, yeah. Good life, yeah. So come on into Coors Light. It's the right beer now. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The Chevrolet Corsica now has an affordable new hatchback, so you can get more into it and more out of it.
To the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. Today's Chevrolet.
Tonight,
I find your ex-husband extremely attractive.
Norman's got a classy new girlfriend.
That's my teacher.
And gets a lesson in love on Almost Grown tonight.
We're back at the Cotton Bowl. 12:24 to go, 4th quarter. The UCLA Bruins 14-3. Despite a fumble, another excellent defensive stand, and UCLA gets the ball back. A final now. Syracuse defeats LSU in the Hall of Fame Bowl 23-10. Clemson leads Oklahoma in the Citrus Bowl 13-6. And Terry Donahue, in quest of his 7th consecutive bowl victory, which would be an NCAA record, has a 14-3 lead right now. First down 10. Troy Aikman has completed passes today to 13 different receivers. Hand off left side. Wills closing in on a 100-yard day is across the 50 to the 49. Patrick Williams with the tackle. And for those of you switching around the dial today, let's bring you up to date on what has happened here at the Cotton Bowl. Sean Wills has rushed now for over 100 with that last run. And Troy Aikman, 18 of 25 for 164 yards. Arkansas has been held to 45 yards of total offense. Second down and 1. 14-3. 12:15 to go in the game. Estwick, that's a first down.
As well as Troy Aikman has played and Sean Wills, it's really been the UCLA defense that has gone unheralded.
That has been the difference.
They have been a sensational, thank you, done a sensational job of really forcing Arkansas into so many 3rd and longs, and they haven't had to do that all year long.
They have done that without Chance Johnson, their leading tackler, without Eric Smith. Randy Beverly, a backup cornerback, is injured and out. They've had numerous adjustments they've had to make. Now first down 10, UCLA from the 47. 14-3. Sean Wills. They started with Eric Ball. Brian Brown played some. And Sean Wills.
You know, Vern, Bill Page right there, number 76. Every college football team has a guy like Bill Page. He starts the team in August on the first team, and your coaches are hoping somebody is going to beat him out. But this guy is so determined. He refused to give up, never let anybody take his position away from him. And the coaches said coming into this game, he has played as well as anybody in the offensive line.
Holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That'll cost UCLA.
Looks like a guy who watches PBS, doesn't he?
If he does, he joins the two of us. And first down. I bet he's also a fan of the Discovery Channel. You never know. First and 20. 11:44 to go in the ball game. Aikman looks over at the UCLA bench.
You know, Vern, we've talked so much about Terry Donahue, but Ken Hatfield in his own right has had a sensational year for the Razorbacks as well. And the last 5 years, they've had the best string of 5 years together they have ever had. He finished second his first 4 years of the conference, and this year got his team to the Cotton Bowl. They will be a force in the years ahead in the Southwest Conference.
There was speculation that Kenny Hatfield would be a candidate for the Georgia job. It was filled, of course, last night after Vince Dooley wound up his brilliant career there. Hatfield has been offered a new 5-year contract by Frank Royals, the Arkansas athletic director, and terms have not yet been worked out. Kenny Hatfield told Pat and me yesterday he had talked to Georgia but had not been offered a position, so he did not turn it down, and obviously it's been filled now. First and 20. Sean Wills. Wills got off to a great start in the absence of Brian Brown and the injury to Eric Ball earlier in the year, but until today he had not had a 100-yard afternoon. His high previously was 96, and right now 16 carries for 108 yards.
You know, but he averaged over 6 yards a carry coming into the game, so he's a big play type of back. And UCLA has a redshirt freshman out of Texas named Kevin Williams, who was probably the most highly recruited player in all of America. He went to UCLA last year.
Second and 17. Aikman. to the 42. Mike Farr makes the tackle. That'll bring up 3rd down, and we go down to John Dockery.
You know, Vern, this is a time for UCLA to play, but also a time for them to remember a very fond friend of the university. You've seen these black patches with a D on them. Well, that's in remembrance of Elvin Ducky Drake, 60 years associated with the university as a player, as a trainer, as a coach. He's gone. He died of a heart attack this week, but he's not forgotten, as you can see by the UCLA players here. One player told me UCLA sports just won't be the same without Elvin Ducky Drake. Now back to you.
Mike Farr overcame some adversity this year, too. Had a tumor removed from his shin bone. And he goes out on 3rd down. Aikman off balance, incomplete. Intended for Paul Richardson. And Kerry Crawford, number 96, had the pressure on him.
Well, Mike Farr, you mentioned it. He has a different perspective on football and life these days, because after last year, they found a tumor on his leg. Thought he was going to be out all year. Actually weren't sure whether it was benign or malignant. It was benign, but thought he was going to miss the year. Went to Michigan, had the operation, and hurried back so we could finish out Troy Aikman's senior year.
And, of course, his dad, Mel Farr, one of the great stars at UCLA and in the NFL. Maggio kicks this one. And it's down inside the 20 at the 11-yard line. So Kirk Maggio comes on and punts the ball inside the 20.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
America's leading consumer products rating service says one battery, Megatron 34 from Interstate, tested best. It ran circles around better-known brands and won by a mile. Megatron 34 from Interstate. Ask for it.
You know, it was great growing up on our ranch in Oklahoma. And now when I walk into a New York City restaurant and order up a little bitty Kansas City strip, makes me feel right at home. I've got a taste for some real food.
My favorite GM car I worked on. Kept it all these years, even after I retired. Every time my son looks at it, he smiles. Very popular at the time, I tell him. My boy's at GM now, building beauties like this one. One thing hasn't changed. We still build them to last.
GM cars have held their resale value better than any other U.S. make.
The 49ers, the Bears, the battle for the NFC Championship. Next Sunday on CBS Sports.
9:48 to go in the ball game. Troy Aikman has led UCLA to a 14-3 edge. We started this day by relating how Curtis Sanford, who started the Cotton Bowl, said he wanted this to be a showcase for great quarterbacks. Look at some of the 13 names who stand out perhaps most prominently. You think they didn't go on to great careers? Add the combined yardage that those men threw for in the National Football League, and you come up just short of 300,000 yards and 2,151 touchdowns.
That's some offense, isn't it?
Just a little.
It's amazing. I didn't realize that many great quarterbacks had played in this game.
Goes all the way back to the great Sammy Baugh, who played in the inaugural. And Troy Aikman has had a fine day. Nothing that's going to cause headlines to explode, but he's really played within himself today. Here's John Bland, a new quarterback for the Razorbacks, and that catch is made, and then nope, now they rule incomplete. No catch and fumble, incomplete pass. Billy Winston, the tight end. It was Bland who came on when Quinn Grovey was hurt and started a couple of important games in midseason for the year. 45 attempts, only 12 completions for 265 yards. But just an interesting little sidelight about how these things come full circle. When John Bland's coach, Kenny Hatfield, led the nation in punt returns at Arkansas in the mid-60s, John Bland's father led the nation in kickoff returns at Mississippi State. And here is Bland back, right side. Way overthrown for Tim Horton.
Well, John Bland is one of 3 quarterbacks that Ken Hatfield has used during the course of the year. He's kind of the middle of the rotor. Grovey's probably a better, quicker runner, although Bland has better flat-out speed and a little better arm than Grovey. But he has come in a couple of times this year and really lifted this Arkansas Razorback team.
Quinn Grovey looks on now. He was able to throw it 7 times and completed just 2 for only 9 yards. And the Razorbacks face a 3rd and 10. They are 2 of 9 on 3rd downs in the afternoon. 5-man rush by UCLA. Bland left side. Incomplete. He had a man wide open, Horton, and overthrew him.
Well, that is tough, I think, when you're sitting on the bench and you have to come in and throw a touch pass. And that's what happened to Bland there. Tim Horton lines up at the right side and runs all the way from right to left. He's open, but he's got to throw it over a couple of guys. And I think that's tough to do when you haven't really had a chance to warm up and throw a couple of balls.
That will bring on Alan Meacham, who's had a terrific day punting. I say terrific because there's a qualifier. The punts have been line drives, and they've been bouncing for a lot of yards, so the stats look great. But Henley's had enormous problems with him. Here's another line driver. And Henley, having been burned a couple of times, backs away from it. It comes to a rest at the 48-yard line. 9:18 remaining in the ball game, a 42-yard punt. We're in Dallas for the Mobile Cotton Bowl.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
My brother used to have remotes all over the place.
They were everywhere.
A TV remote, a cable remote, a VCR remote.
Yeah.
My brother was very confused.
I was very confused. I don't even know how to work this.
Then my brother bought a Magnavox TV with this amazing remote.
And Magnavox invented it.
It's 3 remotes in one. It controls the Magnavox TV it came with and just about any other brand of wireless cable and VCR. So my brother's not confused anymore.
Yeah, and neither am I.
Magnavox. Smart choice. Very smart.
If you think you can handle the big, bold taste of extra gold draft, hang on. This is the full tilt draft real beer drinkers have been thirsty for. And it looks like they aren't gonna let go. Grab hold of an extra gold. It's the biggest taste that's happened to beer since they put it in cans.
Welcome back to the Cotton Bowl, folks. I'm John Dockery, along with part of the Aikman family, Tammy and Terry and Troy's mom, Charlene. What has this year been like for you and for Troy?
It's been very nerve-wracking, extremely nerve-wracking.
What about this week in particular?
Well, this weekend hasn't been so bad. This is kind of a fun game, so it hasn't been as bad as a normal game.
What motherly advice did you give to your soon-to-be millionaire son?
I really haven't given him any advice. Just be himself and play hard.
And he's certainly done that. Okay, Vern, now back to you and Pat.
All right, I go back to the billing of the game, Glitz and Grits. Glitz being UCLA and Grits being Arkansas. Well, here's a kid from Henrietta, Oklahoma, where his mom still lives, and he has not given up the chewing tobacco. First down and 10. UCLA. Handoff. Sean Wills runs into Robert Wynn, number 50, who is playing in place of Tony Ollison, who was playing in place of Wayne Martin.
And if Arkansas is going to have any chance at all with 9 minutes left in the game, the defense has to create a turnover right here in this area of the field to give that offense a chance and with some room to get something on the board.
Bruins have had 2 touchdowns. Both came in the second quarter on successive drives, one of 93 yards, one of 76. They have a second down and 7. No scoring by UCLA in this half. And Wills has been the focal point. Now a flag accompanies Sean Wills to the ground. And again, it was Robert Wynn with a tackle. Might be a face mask. Face mask, Razorbacks. Arkansas, of course, making its first appearance since 1976. They played here when Ken Hatfield played at Arkansas back in '64. What do those two games have in common? The voice of Lindsey Nelson, our longtime colleague who did so many of these games and is watching today back home in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Pat and I and John and Jimmy want to wish Lindsey the best.
Happy New Year, Linz. You know, speaking of Troy Aikman and chewing the chewing tobacco, not too many guys in Los Angeles do that. And he has a little game. He plays with Mark Dellins, the sports information director of UCLA. He'll take that cup where they spit all the juice and he'll leave it in Mark's desk 2 or 3 times a week. Mark really appreciates that.
You ever been on a long car ride with anybody who uses that stuff with the cup?
Thank goodness no.
Oh. Makes it seem much longer. Long conversation going on here about the face mask penalty.
And Terry Bradshaw, ordinarily your partner doesn't know that, does he?
No, not much. And Terry, by the way, made headlines in the Arkansas Democrat this morning. He was quoted as saying he favored UCLA in this game because he thought Arkansas was boring. Terry will not be running for office in Arkansas.
Take that 10.5 boot out of your mouth, Terry.
He's watching the game in Shreveport. 2nd down and 2. Wills, big hole. Look at him break tackles again.
The amazing thing about Sean Wills, and I've been so impressed with him, is not only he had the speed, he's got power to run through arm tackles, as he did right there. He came up limping a little bit, but he ran through about 3 different arm tackles.
Among the other accomplishments for Sean Wills today, he broke the all-time true freshman rushing record at UCLA, held by a fairly decent player named Gaston Green. He needed 15 yards coming in, and Wills, with his first 100-yard-plus afternoon, 120 for the day. And he has been replaced by Brian Brown. 14-3, under 8 minutes to go in the Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic. Well, we made the point early as a flag goes down with Brian Brown. Don't worry just about Troy Aikman. You've got to stop the ground game as well.
It's interesting that Fred Goldsmith, the defensive coordinator at Arkansas, made that very point.
Face mask. It's the defense. 5 yards.
You know, Fred Goldsmith and Ken Hatfield were saying, you know, you think about stopping Troy Aikman, you don't realize how well they run the football. We need to do that first, and they haven't done it today.
Brown has 38 yards. Wills has 120. They have used 6 different running backs, and Kenny Hatfield is not pleased. 7:45 to go in the game, 14-3. But again, it's been Terry Donahue's only 2 long drives, a diversified passing attack, a reliance upon Sean Wills, and an outstanding UCLA defensive effort today. 1st and 10 Bruins. Mark Estwick, the fullback. Tackled by Michael Shepard, number 98.
You know, Vernon, we were talking to Terry Donahue, and he was saying earlier this week, every time his name comes up for a pro job, he gets either a new practice field or lights or a new weight room at UCLA. That's what he likes most about having his name bandied about.
I thought he'd gone a little far when he suggested that you and I suggest his name for a variety of jobs.
Yeah, got all kinds of new practice facilities.
Terry Donahue and the Bruins going after their 7th consecutive bowl victory. No team has ever done it. No coach has ever done it. Here's Brian Brown, and tackled by LaSalle Harper.
You know, Terry has really, we talk about him building a program at UCLA. He didn't inherit one. Again, he fought having USC in the same town, fought the basketball image of UCLA, and it had to go out and recruit nationally because UCLA is a very good school, tough to get in, and he's one of the great recruiters in college football.
3rd down and 6. Under 6:30 to go in the game. 3rd and 5. 14-3 lead for the UCLA Bruins. And again, they work on the clock. Brian Brown barging over left guard and inside the 15 to the 13. Tackle is made by Ty Mason, number 46.
The difference in this football game has been that the Arkansas defense, as well as they've played, have had to be on the field way too long. This UCLA offense has been incredibly patient, dinking the ball with the pass, and then running the ball from tackle to tackle.
Prior to this possession, prior to this one, the time of possession, see the first down difference? It was almost 3-1, 2-1, 34 minutes and 46 seconds for UCLA. And 15 minutes and 56 seconds for Arkansas.
And they didn't necessarily score with all that, but it was a field position game.
And again, they'll work on the clock. Flag is down, and Brown is tackled at the 2. If the play stands, he's got a first down, but there are 2 flags down. Otis Lloyd, LaSalle Harper.
Steve Axman, the offensive coordinator at UCLA, was saying about Brian Brown, and it is the holding call against UCLA. That Brian Brown is the guy that we would really like to get a lot more out of, or would have liked to have got a lot more out of this year, because he's a valuable receiver and running back. But because of injuries, we haven't been able to incorporate him in the offense as much as we'd like.
Brown missed the first 5 with a knee injury. Terry Donahue was talking about the hospitality his team had received here. I was laughing about one of the notes. His wife, Andrea, of course, is with him. And the Cotton Bowl Athletic Committee gave her a gift certificate for shopping. And she looked at it and said, thank you, thought it said $50. And then she checked it again. It was $500. Let's go down to John Dockery.
Thanks, Vern. You know, Florida State has Burt Reynolds, and the Lakers have Jack Nicholson. Well, the Cotton Bowl has Charlie Pride. Charlie, what do you think of the game so far?
Well, I was hoping to be a little closer, and this has been a good game. I was hoping the third quarter we'd get a little closer, and I say, I'm kind of sentimentally pulling for Arkansas. I mean...
but yet you're a Dallas native. What does Aikman coming to Dallas mean to you?
Well, I hope that, I hope that he's the answer to getting back on track again for a
good luck to you. I know you're going to be at the Bush inauguration. Good luck to you now, Charlie. Now back to you, Vern.
All right. Charlie also picked up a golf club or 2. Left side, Brian Brown. 5:05 to go in the game. Michael Shepard with a tackle.
Michael Shepard is a guy who has not quit all afternoon. He is so quick off the ball. You can really whiff when you're trying to block him. He plays that defensive tackle, and it just explodes off the ball. And he has played very well all afternoon.
4:48 to go. This weary Arkansas defense, as Terry Donahue's UCLA Bruins have a second down and 18. Aikman has kept it conservative for much of the fourth quarter, protecting a 14-3 lead. Brian Brown inside the 20 to the 19, and again it's LaSalle Harper with a tackle.
You know, Vern, you made an interesting point about Aikman being patient. A lot of guys with big arms want to use that arm all the time, and they force the ball, they throw it downfield, but Aikman has really done a nice job of really being very, very patient and taking what the defense has given him.
Time has been called by the Razorbacks, so Troy Aikman trots over to have a chat with Rick Neuheisel, one of his successors as quarterback at UCLA.
When the people of Rehoboth, Delaware decided to clean up the waterfront, you know who they teamed up with? Hefty Cinch Sack. The garbage bags that could handle 1 mile of littered beach. Fill them up and they stay closed up. Open them up and put in more. It was a tough job, and certainly not one for a wimpy bag. Rehoboth Beach, reclaimed by the people, and Hefty Cinch Sack. The bag that makes it a cinch to keep America clean, and your little corner in it.
It's not just a car, it's your freedom.
Oh, a car in good shape?
Yeah, had it all checked out.
Gas station?
Nah, GM dealership. Figure those Goodwrench guys know what they're doing.
Good. So any idea where you're going?
Not exactly. But I'll let you know when I get there.
I'll be waiting.
Mr. Goodwrench knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom.
You've seen those Chevy versus Ford tests, right? We came up with one of our own. Half-ton 4x4s, best available tires, driven at the same identical speed right through this 18-inch deep ditch.
Now, this is a real control test, so don't you try it, because you'll damage your truck. That's a Chevy with torsion bar suspension, and that's the Ford with twin traction beam suspension. And you can see why we've had a change of heart and pickups.
That's today's Chevy truck.
10 years ago, with the temperature at 20 degrees and a wind chill of -6, the Houston-Notre Dame matchup looked to be a low-scoring affair. But with Danny Davis directing the Cougar attack, Houston held a commanding 34-12 lead with just 8 minutes left. After a blocked punt resulted in an Irish touchdown, Joe Montana rushed for one and passed for the game-winning touchdown to cap off the greatest comeback in Cotton Bowl history, the extra point being the margin of victory. A little warmer today. It's 66 degrees, and we hope it's maybe half that in Chicago next Sunday at 3:30 Eastern Time as the 49ers take on the Chicago Bears for the NFC Championship. Those two teams played earlier this season in Chicago, a Monday night game that was a brilliant defensive battle. 10-9, Bears won. So the rematch for the birth of the Super Bowl next Sunday. 3rd and 17. And again, UCLA elects to keep it on the ground. And now let's see if we see Alfredo Velasco comes on. Terry Donahue going after his 7th consecutive bowl victory. That would break a tie at a record he shares right now with Bear Bryant and Bobby Dodd.
I don't think you're going to see him. Well, he is going to bring it on. I think Coach always is very concerned about the blocked field goal here and have it being returned for a touchdown. And that's, for an Arkansas team, that's what they need right here. They have to block it and then try to come up with a play after the block.
Alfredo Velasco, who has had a terrific year, 16 of 18, and he will kick it out of Kirk Maggio's hold. His only misses were from 40 and 50 yards. This is from 32. It's up, and it's good. And I think Donahue feels like it might be in the bag. 3:26 remaining in the 53rd Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Have you ever tried a beer and felt like the taste just missed your mouth? Well, taste again. Because times have changed. Here's one big, bold draft that packs a full tilt taste you can get your hands around. Extra Gold Draft. It's the biggest taste that's happened to beer since they put it in cans.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The new Chevy Cavalier. With all the fun it gives you, it just could be one of the best bargains you've ever driven.
To the heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
Terry Donahue and the Bruins are only 3:26 away from their 7th consecutive bowl victory. We asked Terry Donahue yesterday what it would mean to him, and he said a lot. If it was easy, a lot of other folks would have done it already. Only 2 have won 6, Bobby Dodd and Bear Bryant. And Kirk Maggio will kick off to Barry Foster. Total yardage 365 to 45 for Arkansas. And the number of plays overwhelming in favor of UCLA. That kick will finally go into the end zone and come out to the 20. This, of course, is UCLA's first trip here ever, and only the second West Coast team to ever come here. Last one was Oregon. Donahue, we asked if he'd come back, and he said in a heartbeat. And the main reason I would come back is Jim Hoss Brock, the executive director of the Cotton Bowl, said the only problem I've got with the whole agenda is they're killing me. They're killing me. They got it over-organized.
And he also came here because UCLA does a lot of recruiting in the state of Texas.
And for Ken Hatfield, dreams of a reappearance next year, as they apparently are going to lose only their second ball game of the year. Jimmy Williams in at quarterback now. And he keeps his balance out to the 26-yard line. Carnell Lake, number 31, makes the tackle. Our score 17-3 UCLA. Clemson has knocked off Oklahoma 13-6. Last time you'll see Oklahoma in a bowl game for a couple of years. And for Danny Ford's team, a nice way to end the season. Here's Williams getting rid of it, caught by Horton up at the 30-yard line.
Boy, did Jimmy Williams take a shot there by Carnell Lake.
The Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic in Dallas. We've got 2:50 remaining in the ball game. 2 long touchdown drives by UCLA just before halftime. One of 93 yards and one of 76 resulted in a 14-0 halftime lead. Troy Aikman has thrown for 1 touchdown. He has diversified his passing attack by hitting 13 different receivers. And here's a pass caught over the middle by Juju Harshaw, the fullback, number 34. There is Aikman, who will wind up the day 19 of 27, 172 yards, 1 interception on a tip ball, 1 touchdown to Corwin Anthony. And he has done nothing to diminish his value to the folks of Dallas in this ball game.
Throws the ball with tremendous accuracy and velocity, which is unusual.
Williams is down. Just another example of the way this UCLA Bruin defense has dominated the Arkansas team today. Player down for the Bruins. That's Jim Waller, the outstanding nose guard, who has led the way, but apparently he's okay. We'll check during the timeout.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
I gotta go away.
But baby, it's cold outside.
At 35 degrees below zero, this is conventional motor oil. But Mobil 1 still flows freely to protect vital engine parts faster.
I simply must go.
The answer is no.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Get Mobil 1 and beat the cold.
I'm talking cold.
Now, the final chapter, students, in Bosworth's book of etiquette, personal hygiene. How will you separate yourselves from those barbaric hordes that exude a most malodorous air? Right Guard Sports Stick from Gillette. Maximum protection and a fresh scent. A veritable olfactory medley. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized. Raise your glasses, gentlemen, to civilization.
Everyone knows Dristan nasal spray starts to work fast, but just how fast?
Faster than Dolly can pick up a $5 tip.
Faster than a politician can shake hands.
Now, Dristan nasal spray has a new spray pump. Dristan works fast to relieve nasal congestion, stuffiness, even sinus pressure. So, if you want relief...
Faster than a frog on a hot rock.
Try regular or long-lasting Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
Temple, NC State. Mark Macon ignites the Owls against the Wolfpack. Iowa, North Carolina. A battle in the top 10. A doubleheader next Saturday on CBS Sports.
2:07 to go in this 53rd annual Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic from Dallas. The Bruins of UCLA with a 14-point lead. Arkansas with a 3rd down and 6, searching for some kind of offensive magic in the final 2:07. And Jimmy Williams, the number 3 quarterback, on in relief of both Quinn Grovey and John Bland. Left side, that one's dropped. Derek Russell couldn't hang on. And James Malone, number 58, who is from the Dallas area, J.J. Pierce High School in Richardson. Malone, number 58 for UCLA, with the defensive job on that play. Leading tacklers for UCLA, and they've spread this out like Aikman spread out his passes. Waller with 7, Ray with 6, Klein with 5. He's got 4.4 speed, and he has dropped Jimmy Williams back at the 11-yard line. A linebacker listed at 200, but terrific speed.
The fastest guy on the team, and he is not easy to block because he's so quick off the ball. And even if you get a helmet into Carnell Lake, he's so quick he gets rid of that block very quickly.
$1:54 to go in the ball game, 17-3.
You know, Vern, as you look ahead, UCLA has a lot of guys coming back next year. Of course, they lose Troy Aikman, but they should be pretty good in the Pac-10 next year.
Aikman, of course, will be back in Dallas when he is drafted by the Cowboys, but he's also got a trip to Fort Worth coming up for the Davey O'Brien Award, and he'll be a leading candidate for that. That's a production of the Fort Worth Touchdown Club for the outstanding quarterback of the year in honor of the late and great TCU quarterback. Kerry Crawford makes the tackle now on Brian Brown.
And as Ken Hatfield looks ahead to next year, although he loses 8 guys on defense, I think the Arkansas team will be the class of the Southwest Conference again. He told us this week he thinks most of the problems are over in the Southwest Conference. They're over the hump, and he thinks he's going to have a pretty good ball club again next season.
And he's speaking, of course, about the probation by so many members of the conference. Kenny Hatfield said he thought all of that was an evolution out of the misery of SMU, that in the investigation of SMU, this other stuff was uncovered, and he is hopeful that it's all about over. Here's Brian Brown down to the 20 with 1:05 to go. Anthony Cooney makes the tackle. Donahue just a minute away from his 7th consecutive bowl victory. First trip here, as we said, and there's no beach, no nightlife to speak of here in Dallas, so the folks at the Cotton Bowl sell personality and friendship. And Donahue, as we said he'd be back here in a heartbeat. Jim Brock, Field Scoble, the 81-year-old man who has been so much part of the heart and soul of the Cotton Bowl for years. His son, John, Dan Petty, Jim Williams, who played for Arkansas. All of those folks at the Cotton Bowl Committee, again, another outstanding job. Here's Brown inside the 15 to the 12. Eric Bradford, number 14, with a tackle.
You know, Terry doesn't get mentioned much with the Joe Paternos and the Barry Switzers of college football, but maybe it's about time he should be.
7 in a row for the Bruins and Terry Donahue in his 13th season at UCLA. Terry Donahue looking for Ken Hatfield, his counterpart for Arkansas. And there's the handshake by the 2 men in midfield, and a nice touching gesture. And we'll go down to John Dockery. John?
You know, Terry, a lot of people would like to know the secret of stopping the flex bone. You seem to have it. What is it?
Well, I don't know if we have a secret. We had a lot of Bruins today play their hearts out for the program, and this win put us in the national records for all the former players and assistant coaches and all the head coaches and everybody that's worked so hard at UCLA. It's a great...
Oh, yes, the old bath, the Gatorade bath. 7 straight, Coach, 7 straight bowl victories. What does it mean to you?
Well, I really can't put it in words. It's a tremendous win for the program, and it's not me, it's the program. I'm happy for everybody.
What about your quarterback?
Troy was great today, and the whole team was great. And he played with tremendous courage. There was a real lot of pressure on him, but he handled it well, and he looked great.
Let's talk to him for a moment. Troy, come on in here for a second. Okay. Congratulations. It's been a pressure-filled year. You ended on an up note. Can you describe your feelings right now?
Well, right now we set a new record, and you know, that's important to all of us. And for me to go out on a win note, 10-2 the last 2 years, I think that's something to be excited about.
And that short passing game, was that your game plan?
Well, they got a defense designed not to give us anything deep, and they did a great job of that. And with the 4 guys they rushed most today, they did a good job of putting pressure on me as well. And you got to give credit to the Arkansas defense. They played an outstanding game.
You know what surprised me and surprised Pat Hayden and Vern Lundquist? Your patience in taking what they gave you.
Well, that's what we try to premise our whole offense on this year, is just taking what the defense has given us, and it's been successful for us. I don't think you can argue with the success that we've had.
Incredible pressure of the year. Now you go on to more pressure as a #1 pick for the Dallas Cowboys. What do you feel about coming here to play?
Well, I haven't had any indications to me that I'm going to be playing for the Dallas Cowboys, but I'd love to play here. The people have been nice to us. They showed us a little Southern hospitality, and we've had a great stay here, and I'd love to play for them. Well, Matt, I'd like to say hi to everybody down in Henrietta.
Henrietta, all right. Dallas Cowboys have indicated differently. They said you will be their quarterback. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, Vern, Pat. Jim Nance?
All right, John Docker, Henrietta, Oklahoma, some 2.5 hours by car away from Dallas, where, of course, Troy Aikman grew up. And he looks like he's headed on his way to the future for the quarterback spot for the Dallas Cowboys. You know, one remarkable stat, 42 yards total offense in this game for Arkansas. It's the second lowest output in Cotton Bowl history. We'll come back with some more thoughts on the game in just a moment.
You know we're gonna be there, don't think twice. Service is part of our name. We're a part of your country, a part of your town, and no one else does it the same. We deliver, we deliver. It's the reason you trust us. You know that we're gonna come through. We're your postal service. We deliver for you. We deliver for you.
I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to college on the new GI Bill. You serve full-time in the armed forces or part-time in the reserves, and you earn a lot of money for tuition.
The U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Don't take chances with your brake repairs. Trust your brakes to Midas, where the work is done by trained experts. And your brake shoes and pads are guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
The dream. GMAC makes the dream yours with either financing or smart lease. Handled quickly, easily, right at your GM dealers.
The dreams of America, GMAC.
Well, Troy Aikman certainly grabbed the headlines this week in Dallas. Probably will have the headlines again tomorrow morning. But the real story today, the Bruin defense that held Arkansas to only 42 yards total offense. The all-time record for fewest yards in a Cotton Bowl game, 1947, LSU against Arkansas. The Tigers with a quarterback by the name of Y.A. Tittle. On a day with temperatures about 20 degrees and the field bordered by snow, the Tigers and Y.A. Tittle could manage only 16 yards against Arkansas on that day, as LSU and Arkansas finished in a scoreless tie. Today, only 42 yards total offense for Arkansas, as UCLA now has its 7th consecutive bowl victory, an all-time record. And they will gladly accept that Cotton Bowl trophy that they're about to present in the far end zone here in Dallas. And we'll return here at the Cotton Bowl after we take a look at these two fine institutions, Arkansas and UCLA.
As I celebrate my 20th year as Chancellor of UCLA, I'm proud to be part of a university that has come so far so fast. Ranked among the top half-dozen universities in the nation, UCLA is the only one established in the 20th century. Helping us achieve this ranking are UCLA's outstanding faculty and students, the range of our academic programs, the diversity of our research projects, the richness of our cultural events, and our location in the dynamic city of Los Angeles. All of this combines to make UCLA one of the most renowned centers of higher education in the world.
UCLA, an investment in the future.
Warm, friendly, Fayetteville. Going off to college at the University of Arkansas can be like getting together with your best friends at the corner store. It's an intimate experience. But at the university, that friendliness can also be electrifying. A student member of the superconductivity team put it this way.
Being here at the University of Arkansas and working
in the physics department is really like being in the Super Bowl in your rookie year. It's amazing to see our names in the same magazine articles with the people who won the Nobel Prize.
The relationships that inspire success at the University of Arkansas are the product of tradition. Teachers draw the students into the action. Sometimes it's big time, but even then the teachers are accessible. And when the knowledge unfolds, it's shared with wholesome modesty. But as the student says, it's like being in the Super Bowl in your rookie year.
UCLA over Arkansas, 17-3. The Bruins with 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. Valesco and Traynor adding field goals in the second half. It's a 17-3 victory for the Bruins as both UCLA and Arkansas finish their season with 10-2 records. Let's send it back now to the press box. Vern Lundquist and Pat Hayden.
All right, Jim, 17-3, as you said, and it strikes me, we talked about Troy Aikman, the diversified passing attack, but when you look at this defensive effort by UCLA, there's no single person you can say, boy, he played a great game. Well, they all did.
They really did. They were remarkable. The nose tackle, Waller, played awfully well. Carnell Lake played well. Darrell Henley came up with an interception and a big stop here. Watch the nose tackle first, Waller. He gets inside penetration. Then you're going to see Lake, number 31, string out the quarterback. And then Henley, number 2, up there make the stop. And he's been doing that all year long for the Bruins.
42 yards total offense for Arkansas. They were dominated by the UCLA defense today. On the UCLA side of the ball, those 2 long drives in the second quarter, and they featured that very diversified and adjusted pass defense, the short passing game by Troy Aikman.
You know, and again, Aikman has the big arm. A lot of times guys with big arms get impatient and force the ball downfield, but he really did adjust exceedingly well. Watch, he'll look downfield a couple of times, and then he adjusts the ball and hits the wide receiver on the little short route. And again, I think Arkansas did a great job of taking away UCLA's primary passing attack, but UCLA adjusted too well.
That was a third down pass to Paul Richardson, who was one of the 13 men who caught passes for the UCLA Bruins today, as Terry Donahue used all of his personnel, and they won it convincingly 17-3. We go back to Jim Nance.
Vern, thank you. A score in now from the Fiesta Bowl. Number 1 ranked Notre Dame has kicked the field goal and leads against West Virginia 3-0 early in that contest in Tempe, Arizona. And some of the other finals today, Clemson over Oklahoma 13-6 at the Citrus Bowl. The Sooners were held to 116 yards rushing, and Syracuse over LSU 23-10. Robert Drummond with 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards rushing. So that does it for our coverage of college football for the 1988-89 season. And in all honesty, really the final chapter on this college football season will not be written until the Fiesta Bowl and perhaps the Orange Bowl conclude tonight. Nonetheless, it's a season we'll remember for the reemergence of Notre Dame as a true football power under Lou Holtz. It was perhaps as well the 3rd season in the 80s where a national championship was wrested away by a missed 2-point conversion. Oddly, Miami was involved in all 3 games in the decade. But I'll remember the most the year of the little man, Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. Let's remind you that CBS Sports next Saturday will have a college basketball doubleheader. Temple and North Carolina State at 2 Eastern, followed by Iowa and North Carolina. And on Sunday, the NFC Championship game, San Francisco battling Chicago for a spot in the Super Bowl. Who treat this sport with undying devotion and who have brought you the action the past 4 months. Thanks for watching college football on CBS. The Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic has been a presentation of CBS Sports.